Last time we spoke to you, Marilyn, we had a good rant about the perverts involved in the kind of horrible, ghastly victimisation that Jeffrey Epstein got involved in. We've got a front page on The Sun this morning with both Peter Mandelson and Andrew. Disgraced Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has been stuck with a riding ban. Royal aides fear him being seen grinning on horseback is a bad look while he's under a police investigation. Have a look at this. This is an American politician, Representative Thomas Massie, talking, I think, yesterday, Pooch, in the Capitol. Have a look.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Massey, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Congress created the Department of Justice. Congress funds the Department of Justice, and Congress is responsible for the oversight of the Department of Justice. When will we see justice? I'll tell you what I've not seen. I've not seen any arrests from the revelations in the Epstein files, over 3 million documents describing horrible things, describing unspeakable things, so much of it redacted. Over 24 people have resigned, CEOs, members of government worldwide, but I haven't seen any arrests or investigations here in the United States from this Department of Justice. Prince Andrew, Duke of York, who has since been stripped of his royalty, his royal titles, due to his affiliation with Jeffrey Epstein, has been arrested. Peter Mandelson, who previously served as UK's ambassador to the United States, resigned in disgrace from United Kingdom's House of Lords and the Labour Party, and he's been arrested. Former Prime Minister of Norway, Torbjorn Jagland, has been charged, but we don't see any charges, arrests, or investigations in the United States. What do we see? We see our FBI director celebrating in the locker room at the Olympics overseas. It's fine to be proud of this country, but we should be proud of this country because we have a system of justice that works, and yet we do not. Who are the men that should be investigated? I'll name them right here. Leon Black. You don't even have to see past the redactions to see that this man needs to be investigated. Jess Staley, accused of terrible things. It's right there in the files. Why is he not being investigated? And Leslie Wexner, why did the FBI list him as a co-conspirator in their own documents in a child sex trafficking case, and then tell him, according to him, that they had no questions for him? Why is that? Well, the Epstein Files Transparency Act requires the DOJ and the FBI to disclose to us their internal memos and emails about how they made those decisions, whether to prosecute or not prosecute. Yet they have not delivered those memos. And we still don't have the memos and documents and emails from 2008 to explain why Jeffrey Epstein was given such a light sentence in what would have been an open and shut case of child sex trafficking, which allowed him to go back and recommit these terrible crimes, create hundreds of more victims, and ensnare so many other people in his conspiracy. Where are those documents that describe those decisions? We need justice. We want the Department of Justice to get to work, and that's what they need to do now.
Fantastic speech there, made in Congress by Representative Thomas Massie. He's right, isn't he? Because, I mean, apparently in America, they can't find anybody to arrest. Apparently nobody's done anything there.
I mean, it's so transparently obvious, isn't it? The corruption. I mean, Epstein had his tentacles all into everybody's lives, so many lives, the width and breadth. And he just wormed his way into top brass people. What I find extraordinary is when you go back 2 or 3 weeks and you see the photographs, like the lovely one of Andrew spread-eagled over that poor woman, how repulsive, and other stuff. When you look at that, he must have had hidden cameras everywhere, so that if anybody didn't play his game, he would have exploited them, he would have blackmailed them. And it's the corruption's in America, the corruption's over here. Did you see the other day that, the private jets that he flew in here, the logs that are legal, you have to have a log when people are on your flight, they've all been got rid of. Oh, how funny is that? How and as for Andrew, I mean, oh goodness me, he is a revolting prick. He's a spoiled little brat, and he's just repulsive. He's a bully. He's just disgusting lump of. No, I'm not going to say it. I could.
You're absolutely right though, because what on earth is the point of? What's the point of him?
And I mean, they were told he would swear at them. He had any old women he liked him, which was, he should. I mean, why people still call him Prince? I mean, he's just a knob. He's horrible, and it's typical of entitled, wealthy, arrogant men who are narcissistic. It won't be. Look at what was his name? Harrods man.
Mohammed Al Fayed.
What he and his brothers were doing. They think they're entitled to violate anyone they feel. And Epstein just. I mean, I think that thing of Mandelson in his underpants just grossed me out.
Oh, you've just reminded me of that. That's terrible, isn't it?
But I mean, honestly, why can't someone drive a truck through this? This story, you've only seen the tip of the iceberg, and this has got legs to run. You're not. I actually feel sorry for the King and William and Kate, because this is one revolting man who is a spoilt brat who did what he liked. His blooming ex-wife is no better. She's a parasite. And the two girls, who I feel sorry for them. I mean, some people are innocent in this. And I mean, this man who said he doesn't sweat, I bet he's sweating now.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that either. I just don't want to. I don't want to think about any of it. It's horrible. On the front page, you've got Mandelson, this 72-year-old man. I mean, what are they? Children? You'd think that, they would know better. Mandelson has clearly spent his entire life being a complete and utter pervert, a complete scumbag, and a complete and utter disaster. And yet, Keir Starmer thought it was a great idea to bring him back into government.
Well, you have to worry, don't you? Anytime he says, oh, I fully support this person.
Yeah, full confidence.
He's just signed your death warrant.
I know. It's absolutely shocking.
Honestly, Mike, if it wasn't so serious, I mean, it is got to the point where it's comedic, but it's actually really serious. Starmer's dangerous. He really, truly is dangerous.
I believe that. These people are all dangerous. And I'll tell you why they're dangerous, because they're coming for you and I. It's not just that they want to be in power. They want to shut you down, right? And this is a good opportunity for you to tell us where we can find your show, by the way. Tell us where we can find your show.
Well, I've got my own charity, which is Freedom from Abuse, and that's to prevent harm to children, which I'm passionate about. And if you look up Freedom from Abuse, you'll see my story. And that's how I came to be a media whore, really, because when I started,
you and me both, darling.
Bugger, actually, he literally abused 3 of my sons, and he walked free from a court. So don't tell me the courts aren't corrupt. They are.
No.
And he walked free from court with a £200 fine, right? And I thought, oh, I don't think so. You're going to jail, mate. And I was threatened with, contempt of court. I don't care. And I did manage to get him to go down. That was fine. And from that moment on, I became this media voice, right? But then I got involved with TNT Media, and then that all went pear-shaped. And I got in touch with at unprecedented.tv. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to do my own show, which they kind of gave me. And my own show is called Heart and Soul, right? And I get so fed up with all this stuff and the trauma I've had in my own life, which, I reckon I've lived around this clock 4 times. I wanted people to come on who have got a real story to tell, where people don't want to understand other people's reality. So I had 3 dads walking on the other day, and they come on for an hour and they talk. It's their show, basically. You say what you want out there. Right. The show is recorded. It's yours to use as you want. I've got Siobhan White coming on. I've had wonderful women I know, Professor Jane Monckton-Smith, who spoke about domestic homicide and domestic suicide. I want those gritty subjects that people want to say, oh, it couldn't happen to me. I had a guy called Charlie's Promise on the other day, Martin Crosser, whose lovely young son went to a party and was stabbed to death by by this awful boy, 16-year-old now, gone down for life. I mean, and I lived in the village next door to where that happened, and I found it in Sussex. And oh my gosh, it was one of the hardest interviews I've done. But this is life. You don't know. You get the knock on the door. It could be you tomorrow, and you know. And I just get so. I wish I did stay calm. I wish I was. I am calm, but I get enraged by stupid idiots.
Yes.
And I feel I'm going to get someone, and I feel sorry for Ziggy.
I know.
I love animals. I love animals, and let me just tell you something about my
Poor Ziggy
psychiatrist.
is poor.
Oh no, bless him. Oh, look at him.
I know.
Oh, love him. I've got a black one like that.
Have you? Very beautiful. What's his name?
After all this happened, with anybody's got trauma, let me tell you this. This is a little clue that I was given by a psychiatrist, because after my children were sexually abused, and then I had all the stress of getting that into the court, which I did, and I wrote a book about all the emotions I went through for other parents that were non-abusing parents that found their children had been groped by some pervert, right? And I had to. I was going to take my own life. I had the date booked and everything when I was going to do it, when all the family were out. I thought, oh, whoopee-dee. Anyway, there was a guy at this dinner party I went to. He said, I know what you're going to do, so don't do it. Don't give him that much respect. And I ran out of the house and I didn't know what to do. I thought, I only know how to live. I only know how to die. I don't know how to live. So I went to see a psychiatrist, and he said, I'm not going to medicate you, but he said, what someone's done, and when anybody has these abuse situations and things that where their children have been killed, whatever, you know, you're not expecting it. You've basically been thrown out of an aircraft without a parachute. And the problem is, if you were physically broken, you'd be head to toe in a plaster cast, and everybody would be running around helping you, opening the doors, you know, all that stuff. But all your brokenness is on the inside, and no one can see it, and that's the really sad part. Now you can't have tomorrow back, because I said I want my life back. No, you can't have your life back, and I said you can only move forward. And he said to me, and I would say this to anybody out there, he said to me, right, tell me 3 things that defined you, because this abuse, this horrific abuse to your children cannot define you, and it mustn't define them. So go back, the first 3 things that you defined you as a child. Oh, that's easy. I said music, because I was head of music, animals and nature. He said, well, that's fine. Go and buy yourself a puppy, because I'd become agoraphobic. I wouldn't go out. And the puppy would teach you trust and all this, that, and the other. And bit by bit, I got better, and oh my God, I wouldn't want to go back. No. And people tell you in the NHS, oh, you know, when you recover. No, you don't recover. You can heal, but you don't recover. Yeah. No one that's had trauma goes back to the person they were before. And I don't want to go back there anyway. But I've been so harmed and hurt by human beings that I actually prefer animals. You know where you stand with animals. You know, they love you unconditionally. Yeah, they're amazing. And if anybody else wants to know how to get over trauma, I would thoroughly recommend, an audio version, because you can't read the print, it's too small. It's called The Body Keeps the Score, and it's written by Bessel van der Kolk. I would urge anyone to get the audio. It tells you, if you hold trauma in your body, what it does to your body later on in life.